Hello everyone, welcome back to GGN. This is part 2 for today for Friday, July 12th, 2013. Ready to go here, cover some of the, quote, what I believe would be an engineered revolution in the U.S., cover some police state news, and some economy at the end. Why did the Obama administration organize and manage protests against George Zimmerman? So it says, is the Obama regime at least partially responsible for turning the George Zimmerman trial into such a huge national spectacle, as the Judicial Watch has obtained documents which prove that the Community Relations Service, a division of the Department of Justice, was sent to Sanford, Florida in late March 2012 to help organize and manage rallies and protests against George Zimmerman. Said it included a bit of money, quite a bit of money, arranging meetings between the NAACP and local leaders, providing police escorts for protesters. Says this case should have never been hyped up like this, and that's what it was. They were sowing seeds of hate and discontent, a while back, because they knew what was going to happen, or possibly what. See, that you don't know what's going to happen because you don't know what people are going to do, right? They're controlling, or at least they're managing the masses, and so you never know what's going to happen. Instead of being encouraged to look at each other as individuals and fellow American citizens, our politicians and the media continue to hype racial division and strife. Twitter flooded with new wave of riot threats. Trayvon Martin supporters take to the social network in greater numbers than ever before to promise unrest if Zimmerman is acquitted. So, as the jury retires to consider its verdict, threats to stage riots, looting, and racial violence if Zimmerman is acquitted continue to flood Twitter in great numbers. So it says here, even despite efforts by authorities to discourage unrest. So you can go in there and check it out. It's got all these different tweets, and they're all pretty relevant. They're all like within the last day or today. Police readying First Amendment zones to quell possible Zimmerman backlash from the 12th. Unsure of how the public will react following the verdict of George Zimmerman murder trial, local leaders and police are working closely to establish designated areas where people can gather peacefully. It says 2 First Amendment zones will be ready to go whenever the decision comes down from the jury in Sanford. So, it says here, gun owners brand American Rifle and Pistol Association a false flag operation. Never even heard of this group, but when the American Rifle and Pistol Association launched July 4th, it hoped to attract gun owners across the political spectrum who were looking for a sane alternative to the NRA. Again, they're the same thing. So far, that effort doesn't appear to be going well. On various gun forums, blogs, the reception has been anything but friendly, and instead of being depicted as the new and improved NRA, their group has been described alternatively as a false flag group or astroturf phonies and frauds. So to these gun owners, this American Rifle Association is a sheep in wolf's clothing, or more specifically, a Democrat gun control group parading as a right-wing and pro-gun organization. Also, you got to remember, a lot of these people, they don't just donate money to the group NRA. I'm sure their names are all on lists, so it's just another way of doing that, I guess. Also, like I've mentioned before, the NRA, or a group like an NRA, they're not really there to protect gun rights. They're just there to protect the gun manufacturers' profits. So, Tea Party Republicans flocking to appear Monday at White Nationalist Connected March. Just like, ooh, Republicans, white nationalists. But then you go in the article, and it says here that these Republicans or representatives, I believe, it says here they're all planning to appear at an anti-immigration reform rally held by a group with close connections to white nationalist movement. According to Right Wing Watch, the Black American Leadership Association is not the grassroots organization it purports to be, but rather a long-standing cabal of anti-immigration activists who have deep connections to the white nationalist John Tatton, a man the Southern Poverty Law Center calls the racist architect of the modern anti-immigrant movement. This is coming from Raw Story, just so it's more left-leaning. Tea Party leaders wrote Cottle have been downright giddy at having a group of activists of color on hand to point to when the critics call out the recent anti-immigration reform push by conservatives as part of racial animus. So you have to think, why would they be doing this? Because they're uniting as for a common cause. I mean, there's like the abortion. You had a lot of the black community that were staunchly against it, and as far as immigration, it doesn't necessarily have to be a white thing. It can be in any American thing. I have one viewer that's a Dominican, and he's not for open borders. So I mean, either you're for open borders or you're not. So, but you got basically Zionist-run organizations like this, that Southern Poverty Law Center, and they're there to say, well, if you're against open borders, well, then you're a racist. Well, if there's blacks, then then these people can at least say, well, how could we be racist? We're not the only ones. So this is where they squeeze people into, and then you get headlines like this: Tea Party Republicans flocking to appear on Monday on White Nationalist Connected March. Ugh, it's like the madness. U.S. begins flying deportees to Mexico City. I don't think they just began it. They've been doing this for a while. U.S. immigration authorities have begun flying deportees deep into Mexico in an effort to discourage them from trying to return. More than 100 million Americans receive food aid. So we've already covered this before, but the Department of Agriculture reports the number of people needing assistance surpasses the private sector workers. Nearly a third of our country receives food aid. So, Farm Bill passes in the House without food stamp funding. So that was it's awesome. So pretty interesting comments here. I'll read them. Wow, keeping the left versus right hate going on. The Dems love this outcome more than they'll ever admit it. They'll wait till election time to use that against the GOP. Says, I'm against the military-industrial complex and bankers, not food for families. It's not just political warfare. You're talking about class warfare, economic warfare. Obama commits to signing UN arms treaty while Congress is at summer recess, which would basically regulate the international sale and transfer of all conventional weapons throughout the world. So they want to take over control over all weapons, including handguns, rifles, shotguns, automatic weapons, and ammunition. Rahm Emanuel of Illinois or Chicago trying to circumvent new Illinois concealed carry law with bogus gun-free zones. So even, it says here, even before Governor Quinn tried to use his amendment veto power to weaken the concealed carry law, soon to go in effect throughout Illinois, Mayor Rahm Emanuel has been working behind the scenes to make lawfully carrying a concealed weapon as difficult as possible in Chicago. This means a parent with a concealed carry permit who wants to walk their child home to keep him or her safe will be out of luck. Gun Geomarker app tries to locate homes and businesses of gun owners. A new Android application asks users to expose the home addresses of gun owners they deem potentially unsafe and share that information with the world. So they released the app, it says here, on July 7th, and invites users to mark the homes of businesses of suspected unsafe gun owners to help others in the area learn about their geography of risk from gun accidents or violence. The app bill itself as merely a tool to collect information, but it was hit with a firestorm of negative reviews and comments from people worried that it could do more harm than good. So there you go. Crazy story that a viewer brought up to me or gave me the tip was review false cops, innocent man shot 16 times. So basically this guy, I'll reload this. This guy was just chilling in his room, and it was they raided the wrong person, or I guess they were looking for his roommate, and they basically shot the guy because he thought he was going for a gun. So, but it says here he'll never fully recover from the barrage of bullets fired by police on February 11th, 2011. His attorney said that he had suffered a broken shoulder, 2 broken arms, broken legs, compression fracture to his spine, damage to the liver and spleen. So it wasn't the guy that police were after in King County, Washington. I thought he was reaching for his gun. Still though, I mean, 20 bullets they fired. They hit him 16 times. So, it could just be that these cops realized that they made a mistake, and when they fired a few shots, they figured they'd just try to kill the poor bastard. Police shoot firefighter in parking lot after mistaking wallet for gun. Cops gunned down an unarmed firefighter after he mistook his wallet for a gun. The police claim he exited his car and was holding what turned out to be his wallet in a combat position. So they're real nice. But the cops are just like a lot of people that you see around. They're just frightened little sheep, man. I mean, just they look at you like you're a terrorist or something. Could just be me because I have a beard and ponytail and stuff like that. But these people have just been totally brainwashed to believe that the people that wear uniforms and the cops, the authorities, they can be trusted, and people that wear business suits could be trusted. But then you got the people that get real violent, and it's mostly because they're afraid, and that's what kind of how cops fall under that. It says here, anonymous donor pays $500,000 bail for teen facing 10 years in jail for sarcastic Facebook comment. So I can't believe this actually went through, but yep. He was released on bail Thursday after anonymous donor paid his $500,000 bail for terrorist threats for making sarcastic comments on Facebook. Unbelievable, dude. Then you have update, DHS at international checkpoint breaks driver's windows and seizes all his stuff and doesn't charge him with anything. So, land of the free, right? So that's why the people from legal immigrants want to come here, because we're so free. That's why the terrorists want to bomb us, because we're so free. Speaking of which, we have a Venezuelan bicyclist flees country after Oregon police force basically a catheter. They were trying to force him to give pee. You can go down there, and it's a lot of details, but it's just a horrible story. Basically, because he didn't have lights. The cop said, "How is it? Hey, how's it going?" Right? Because I care about how you're doing. No, they want to steal money from you. You know you're supposed to have lights on your bike, right? So when his friend here said that he didn't, he refused to show his ID because he wasn't being charged with anything, well, then they charged him with something. And what was it for? Failure to use a bicycle seat because he was standing up and driving. I tell you, these Oregon cops have been there before. There's some real bad dudes. But hey, it's a liberal state, right? So it doesn't really matter. Cops, they're not really political, if anything. Like I said, I think most of them are pretty much nihilist. Museum rejects disabled girl because her wheelchair would get the carpets dirty. So it kind of reminds you of that Seinfeld episode of whenever you come in, make sure you wipe your wheels. So 11-year-old girl suffering from brain dysfunction that has left her physically disabled was denied entrance to the Georgia Museum because her wheelchair would get the carpets dirty. Custody denied to Nazi naming dad. So came down, judges denied custody to the father who came to court in a Nazi uniform to get back his youngest child. So the New Jersey Division of Youth and Family Services said they took the boy because of previous violence in the home. An anonymous abuse claim was also made to local police. The couple said they never abused their children and argued that they were being targeted for the names that they chose to choose their kids. So officials denied that to be the case. All this came out when they got that cake with his name on it, and that's when they called. So Twitter hands over data in French anti-Semitism case. Twitter said Friday it handed over data to French authorities to help identify the authors of anti-Semitic tweets following a complaint from a Jewish students group. So you just see the double standards. I mean, what if someone named their kid Lenin or Stalin or something like that? You think their kids would be abducted? No. What if some people, some I am Trayvon people started saying, "Let's kill Whitey"? You think? I mean, do you think something would happen? I don't know. Maybe if it was against authorities, but. So it was a complaint from the Francis Union of Jewish Students that did it. Heroic citizens anger city by fixing potholes on his own. So he angered the city. Again, you got to think about it like this. What's the city? Well, it's a corporation, and the cops enforce that the monetary system. So the city does not represent the people. The city is just an entity. It's a legal corporate entity. It does not represent the people. So they angered the monetary system. That's what he did. 101 potholes. It says here that police are investigating him after he took asphalt from Jackson, Mississippi, and used it to cover potholes. So it says it's sort of like Robin Hood. Once we saw people were appreciating what we did, we went out again and made a goal of fixing 100 potholes. So this is called volunteerism. This is what actual community is. But you can't have that. That's why they'll treat a guy like a criminal, because they don't want the idea of that spreading. Will North Colorado be the 51st state in the union? I would hope not. I mean, if you're going to succeed, freaking succeed. I don't know. Call yourself a colony. Don't volunteer to be under the yoke of the union. May the union be damned, as they say, right? That's a joke, just in case I'm being monitored by the NSA. It says here, residents urge state to drop Common Core school standards. Residents describe the Common Core as a federal intrusion and a Bill Gates money grab. They argue against the adoption in Pennsylvania. So many see Bill Gates as a businessman who's helped use his wealth to improve society. So, yeah, some see him as basically a shark swimming in Pennsylvania's educational waters in search of his next meal ticket, the future, the children. Residents say Common Core is something that is really dangerous, so the Department of Education said the residents are misinformed. It's always they're misinformed about the state's role in developing its version of Common Core standard. But we know that they're behind it. The ambitions of Bill and Melinda Gates controlling population and public education. Hey, Warren Buffett makes $2 billion donation to the Gates Foundation. Federal Reserve Bank presidents here are discussing economic outlook in Wyoming. Someone snapped this picture outside the venue of the bankers. Yeah, it's nice, isn't it? The U.S.-EU trade talks are basically done. They say it was a success. Now the discussion moves to Brussels. SMP amazingly says no one should believe its ratings are independent and objective, while homelessness tops 5-year high in the UK. This is GGN. Thank you.